how do we open this? Hey, guys.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Have you heard of Let's Talk About It?
Have you met Kylen?
Have you met Connor?
Kylen, what are you drinking?
Well, if you must know, I am drinking a Hoegaarden, which coincidentally is the place where I come from. That was prefaced by, of course, White Zinfandel, the official Kylen drink of Let's Talk About It, which was prefaced by another Hoegaarden. So what I mean to say is I'm pretty drunk.
I was drinking a gin and Diet Coke earlier. I've drank like 6 Diet Cokes today. I'm getting to like MatPat levels of Diet Coke drinkage, which is
Connor, the aspartame.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in my system right now.
It's gonna asper your tane.
Oh boy, does my ass need pertaming.
Horny on main police.
But I am finishing that off with a low carb monster. During the break, I might make another drink because need to loosen up for our talks.
Ooh, spicy. What are we talking about?
Well, as any good talker knows, we spend a bit catching up because like this is the main point where you and I get to catch up on the games we did.
Mm-hmm.
I had some pretty intense games.
Let's start with you. Let's start with your business.
Yeah, so I've had some pretty intense games on twitch.tv/indoor adventures because we have rebranded once again, and I'm going back and changing the URL and like all the VODs as I upload our stuff to Anchor because now I can do that.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about all the places you can find our podcast now.
Yeah, so as of the recording of this, you can find you may be listening to Let's Talk About It on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, or Radio Public, as well as Anchor FM and YouTube.
God damn!
Possibly coming to Spotify soon, and other things that I don't know, like maybe Stitcher. I don't know. That's a thing.
So we are the most current on YouTube, but you can find up to episode 6, I believe, on all the podcasting services.
Yeah, and by the time this actually gets uploaded, we should be all caught up. But that said, please, if you are listening to this on something other than YouTube, please go look at it on YouTube because the watch time and the subscriptions from that really help me out. Much more than other places, but yeah, and you get nice visuals that Sober Connor works you're hard enough on.
Sober Connor, you're doing a passable job.
But yeah, I've had some pretty intensive games on twitch.tv/indoor adventures in that series, so why don't we talk about them?
Let's talk about it.
So there comes a time in a lot of adventuring parties' careers where you get into a fight that's just a little too much, and at some point the best course of action is to retreat.
How did this happen?
Well, this happened whenever there's just great synergy between the monsters. I believe the monsters were the martial adept and a minotaur and a weretiger and some sharks because we were on a boat. Because we were on a boat, we could not retreat. So that definitely takes away a lot of options for our adventuring party in that case.
Mm-hmm.
The fight did not go well.
Yeah, I caught like the tail end of that, and people were getting thrown off the boat into sharks.
Yep. We had 2 healers. They were going down. They were in the water. We had our barbarian up on the deck trying her best. And oh boy, my blood hunter got stunned. And the thing about getting stunned is you cannot take actions. And you cannot take reactions. And you cannot move. So you are completely helpless for at least a turn. But you also immediately fail strength and dexterity checks, which is great whenever you have a minotaur on the boat and can throw you off into where sharks can also attack you.
Oh no.
And get insta crits on you.
Indoor. What the fuck?
So the healers healed each other, and my character was unfortunately left on his own to die.
Just floating in the water. So this is how it ends.
Which, if you have listened to earlier things of Let's Talk About It, was actually one of my wishes for Blake.
And if I recall, didn't Indoor say that he got inspiration because of our fucking podcast?
Yeah, Indoor listens to this podcast, and he was very excited that I was going to talk about it. And he thought the last episode was going to be the one where we talked about it, but that one was recorded like the day before that fight happened.
Yeah. So, Indoor, we're talking about it.
Indoor, this is for you. But yeah, that was one of my wishes for Blake. Those of you who are involved with streaming tools may know of Straticus Academy's streaming safety tools. I'll try to put a link in the doobly-doo for that.
Is that OX, all that stuff?
Yes, it's the X cards, O cards. Stars and wishes are very important. That's what
yes.
Right now. Stars are things that you very, very much liked about a particular session or arc, and wishes are things that you would like your character to either get or encounter or, in my case, die.
We use stars and wishes in Alas for the Awful Sea, and it's really nice. I like that system.
Yeah. Lines and veils is also a very great safety tool to use. If there are things that you do not want to come up in a game at all, if you have certain sensitivities that you don't want to get randomly dropped on you if you are streaming a D&D game, very important discussion to have with your DM. But I think we might be talking about that a little bit later. But safety tools, they're great. We might talk about them a little bit more later. But dying was a wish that I had for Blake. And as it turns out, it was also a wish for Indoor. And
wow, same hat.
Well, Indoor had said to that this arc was called Passage, and that involved a lot of things because he's definitely taking a Acquisitions Incorporated, the C team, bit of inspiration, where he's like, oh, well, I want this to mean a lot of things. Like, number one, securing passage to and from the island. I'll have to listen to the Knights in the Courtyard once more. I think it also involved like arc, wizard, cleric, also like learning about his past and learning the language of creation. That was an important bit of passage for him. But it also involves the passage of Blake.
At the passage from this mortal coil.
One of the things that it came about from this death is that Blake's patron, the ancient black dragon that he was cloned from, the spirit that lived in his heart, was able to take control of his body and get a little bit of freedom.
Hoo boy.
Which he immediately used to save the rest of my party and quickly end the fight.
Deus Ex Tarlean?
Deus Ex Dragon Daddy.
Yes.
But because narrative and because, I had also had a wish that was not going to be the end of my character. he was quickly subdued by a magic item that was given to me earlier in the campaign. And, well, the very next session, Endor was gracious enough to let me run one of our normal sessions. I was able to DM the finale of our little arc.
Hell yeah.
And I sort of guided some of the other party members on a dungeon crawl through Blake's heart, where where he this is where Blake was communing with his patron, his dragon dad, who lived in his heart. So that magic item was created from the remains of an archangel, a solar, that was supposed to be Blake's original patron. That was the one that was summoned before Dragon Dad came in and fucking ate him.
Oh my god, I remember that moment so well. That was fucking beautiful.
But I thought it would be
Endor's voice for that archangel was so good.
I can say after DMing this one shot, it's a very fun voice to replicate because I brought this dude back.
Oh god, yeah, you did.
But so I guided the party through his heart because Blake's heart was under attack by this archangel, the remains of this archangel who was supposed to like drive back the fiendish influence on his heart. Well, the thing is, maybe Blake's influence with his patron, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between him and Tarlean because they're literally the same person. So yeah, this angel was doing damage to his heart, and because he was undead, this is just an echo of what he was. He really couldn't make the conscious decisions about what he was attacking and what he was not. So by driving back the influence, he was 100% killing Blake, and that's what I need the rest of the party to go in and solve. Mm-hmm. So they did a little trounce through his heart, fighting flying Celestium swords and encountering an altar of Tiamat that was hidden away in his heart, encountering a black Abishai that was quickly killed by our paladin before they could really talk and say, hey, our goals are aligned. Let me help you. Nope, it's definitely Vax v Nothic, but in our home game.
Corey was like, nope.
It's real great because like in the session before, Corey hounded Blake for like immediately attacking the evil Fae before talking to it.
Oh, T, cinematic parallels.
But the best part is Blake doesn't know about this.
Of course. So Blake can't rub it in Corey's face.
Yep, so they kept going until they encountered this, the remains of this undead archangel that was tearing apart at the combined soul of Blake and his patron Tarlean. But one important thing to note is that they had help through Endor's own character, Makath, the person who made this thing in the first place.
Fuck yeah, Makath.
So she got to witness firsthand the after effects of what she of her trying to help. And I had the most evil DM smile because, oh my gosh, I got to torment an NPC.
Which, by the way, Endor RPing as Makath was so nice. I only got to catch the final battle, but what he did towards the end with taking on like spoilers, but like just enticing this archangel to like stab her to break Arjan and Blake, or not Arjan, excuse me, Tarlean and Blake out.
Mm-hmm. You could call it Arjan. I like to think of like the combined form of them as Arjan.
Okay, yeah, so to break Arjan out, that was badass.
And I'm very glad that he did it because I really didn't have another plan for how that thing was going to end. So whenever I made this encounter, so a nice DM tip for everybody. If you have a party of level 5 characters, and you think, hey, it's okay if I use a Solar, because I'll scale it back a lot, you will probably not scale it back enough. If you're still having plus 11 to hit and an armor class of 21, you might need to go a little bit further.
Maybe a little more.
But, I mean, that said, your players can definitely surprise you and possibly offer you a way out, because Macaw sacrificing herself to free Tarlayan definitely provided a great into the session that was a lot better than anything that I could have come up with.
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, not fuck yeah at like, oh, your narrative skills suck, but like, fuck yeah.
Or like, fuck yeah at my players for bringing up a believable way to end the story. Because like, I only had one session DM, and I definitely didn't want this to bleed into the next arc.
Oh god, yeah, no. That's the thing with one shots. It's like, I think I have enough for one session, and then your players do things, and you're like, ah.
Like play Big Truth, Little Truth for like 30 minutes.
Like that.
Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I mean, we can certainly talk about that.
Yeah.
So, as you guys may recall, our Latires from last episode. Sorry, I'm just thinking now of like, you know, like car tires.
No.
Oh, no, terrible. Excuse me. So, as you may recall, I so foolishly decided that I was going to run a one-shot set in the same universe as our Mondragon Heist, starring the orphan children we semi-adopted. So, from the Dragon Heist campaign, Nat, Squidly, Jinx, and then a character from AQ's character's backstory, Rhiannon. So they went from NPC to player characters, and went from like younger children to young teenagers. Yeah, I can't believe I decided to do that, but I did, and it didn't happen. Oh god. So, yeah, for the one shot, it's interesting because speaking of Endor, we spoke about him a moment ago. I saw a tweet recently that, from him where he was like, what did you guys decide to do with Nat, Squidly, and Jinx at the end of your campaign? And he said that he and the party had come up with, like, classes for the kids that were way different than the ones that we came up with. Like, it was funny to see how different they were. Because, like, for our little one-shot, we had Nat as a Gloomstalker Ranger.
Yeah.
Which was played by our very own Connor.
Yeah, that's me.
Squidly was an arcane trickster played by Ginger Benji. Jinx was a School of Abjuration wizard played by EJ the Grey, TSB. And then Rhiannon, which was AQ's backstory's character, was played by AQ, and she was a Circle of Dreams druid. And so, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I came up with my own original one-shot set in Iman during Winter's Crest, and it was okay.
Yeah, there was wild magic pies.
I did so because I did set it during Winter's Crest, I was looking up inspiration for like festival games, and I was like, okay, I want like a pie eating contest. And then as I was looking around on the internet, I saw someone come up with like a wild magic pie eating contest, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take that. That'll be fun.
There was some Big Truth, Little Truth, which was just a slumber party game that AQ's character wanted us to play. There were discussions
Oh, yeah.
about whether or not Nat has killed somebody, if that is her big truth.
Yeah, because you went pretty hard and heavy with Nat's backstory between the time skip.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, my thoughts for Nat are definitely influenced by Anna Prosser Robinson's portrayal of the character in Dice Camera Action,
Mm-hmm.
where she's a very serious, like, mother figure to the rest of the urchins. But she's also very, like, down to business. I'm going to protect these people. I'm going to do what I need to do, sacrifice myself if I need to. Definitely more adult. So she was going to do the adult thing and try to get a job and provide for the kids. And that just so happens that she was going to start doing stuff for the class, because the class are still responsible for the reconstruction of Tal'Dorei in some way. So they are a necessary evil.
Hey, Connor.
Yeah,
Big truth or little truth?
big truth.
Has Nat killed anyone?
I don't like this game.
Give us the lore.
And there was something really great. What happened to the what was some of the fallout of the character's success in Dragon Heist?
Oh, okay. So, to back up to our Dragon Heist campaign, spoilers for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, by the way.
Spoilers for the summer arc.
Yeah, spoilers for summer. So, the summer villains of that game are the Castle Lanterns, who are a noble family in Waterdeep / Amon, if you choose to run it that way.
I'm still working on those conversion notes, I promise.
Who made a deal with Asmodeus for money, power, health, whatever you make a deal with the devil for, at the cost of their children's own souls. So they had 3 children, Osvaldo, Terenzio, and Elzarina. Osvaldo's soul was claimed immediately after the deal.
Because he was of age.
Yes, and he was turned into a chained devil. And Elzarina and Terenzio's souls would be claimed when they turned 9 years old, I believe. Unless the Castle Lanterns get enough money or enough souls. And that's what their whole quest is about in Dragon Heist, which I guess creates a moral dilemma as to whether you want to save the children or all these people that could die at their murder dinner party. Which, it was a pretty easy decision for our party to just be like, oh god, no, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, you're not killing 999 people. I don't fucking care about the goal. You're not killing 999 people.
Yeah,
so that's one of the reasons that I really like the Castellanders as a villain, because the party can win. They can save a lot of people, but the souls of 2 innocent kids are going to be caught up in the struggle.
Yeah, so we did that, and we did the steps necessary to beat the Castle Lanterns. However, Elzarina and Terenzio did get claimed by Asmodeus. So when I wrote the one-shot, I was like, well, claims could mean several things. So at this, to kind of give you guys a rundown, at this Winter's Crest Festival, there was some fiendish activity going on, some imps and all that nonsense. Just because, for those who are maybe not aware with Critical Role lore, Winter's Crest is the time of year where the boundaries between all the different planes are at their thinnest. So I decided that meant, hey, perhaps there is some planar mischief. Maybe more devils can pass through. And yeah, and all signs of fiendish. Oh, there were like orphans being kidnapped and shit. and all signs of fiendish activity led to the abandoned Castle Lantern Mansion, excuse me. So the kids go into the mansion and they find that the kids are being kidnapped by Elzarina, who is now a Pact of the Fiend warlock for Asmodeus. Because, hey, you know, if your soul's claimed, why not be a servant in Asmodeus? That's more fun than turning into like a, lemur or something.
Yeah, you can get a whole bunch more souls.
So yeah, that was the final boss fight for that one shot, which was pretty fun. I'm a little sad though. I built some deadly encounters that turned out to be not that deadly.
Yeah, I mean that's okay though, because like if your players are cutting through them and it's easy, that makes them feel good. Like, hey, yeah, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
A lot better than the alternative where they get frustrated because they can't, hit the 21 armor class of a Solar or scale it back to 17 and still not be able to hit it.
No, I was building the encounters at first. I was like, oh, that's too hard. I'm gonna bump them up from level 3 to level 4. But now I'm thinking, they gotta handle it at level 3.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
Because you guys, first of all, rolled stats like young gods.
I did not, but
I know. TSB and Ginger Benji did for sure, but
Jinx got swole. Like,
fuck.
Jinx got the Neville Longbottom Josh Peck transformation.
But yeah, no. And plus, I was rolling like shit all night on my DM rolls, which I think is like the curse anyway, from what I hear, that DM dice are worse than player dice.
Yes, it's always good to have a good set of DM dice. All the dice that you throw in dice jail, make them DM dice. Players will feel really great about that.
But yeah, no, I was like, that was okay. But then I, saw messages from everyone that said they really enjoyed it, and I don't know, that was kind of nice, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like to DM because I get really anxious about it.
Mm-hmm.
But people seem to enjoy it. But
the one shot that I ran on Indoor's channel, which was the stream game that I was running in for the DM of that thing, and I 100% could have screwed up his whole campaign. I was freaking the fuck out right before that. I was so nervous. Oh my gosh.
If people ever decide to DM, that's terrifying.
It's really rewarding. So like Dragon Heist, just like hearing y'all talk about it every week, and just like all the memes that came out of it, it was great.
Do you know the one thing I'm mad about from the one shot?
What?
I don't know if you heard this, because I don't know if you were there. You might have left beforehand, but
yeah, I had to leave a couple of times during that to take care of Lady and stuff.
But one of the fair games I made was one of those things where you like hit the hammer and like it rings the bell. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what they're called, but it was going to be ran by some dwarves with some silver warhammers. Which, for our Latai listeners, so I guess more dragon
possible. Yeah, wait, yeah. It is a spoiler. It's a spoiler for all the routes.
So the door, spoiler, the door to get into the Cache of Dragons, you have to retrieve 3 items, which are randomized, but
well, not necessarily items.
Not necessarily? Okay. Well, anyways, our items were like sunlight, a beardless dwarf, and a silver warhammer. So my character, the first time we went, my character was so like, got a silver warhammer from our blacksmith friends next door. Found the beardless dwarf and was like, hey, if you do this for us, I'll give you this warhammer. And so I did that and sent them away. And then it turns out we needed to go back into the vault. And everyone was like, why'd you give away the fucking warhammer? And I was like, I didn't think we needed it anymore. So I got another warhammer. I found another beardless dwarf and was like, hey, if you do this for us, you get to keep this warhammer. So there was just a joke going around that Soleil eventually started a charity that was like silver warhammers for all dwarves. A warhammer for every dwarf of a mod. So I made that meme specifically for that one shot, and you guys never ran into it. But I told everyone about it, and everyone had a good laugh, so that's good enough.
I love it.
I'm laughing at myself here. I'm so goddamn funny. Anyways, why don't you talk about your game that you just wrapped up?
Yeah, so for the past few weeks, I've been a part of a game on PurgaStar's channel called The Little Things. It's where we were all adolescents in Faerun, protecting a star, a fallen star, and just sort of encountering fairy tales in the woods, things that adults wouldn't notice, because adults don't notice the little things.
Mm-hmm.
We finally wrapped that up. There was a lot going on in this game, whether it be goblins that we stopped from stealing babies dropped off by a stork to be consumed by a hag. And then befriending those goblins while they recite the tale of 3 little goblins and the big bad wolf. And then to see them murdered the next day.
Bah.
To being assaulted by tooth pixies who want to steal our Loxodon's tusks in exchange for, I don't even know what they were going to do with it. To finding lost boys in the forest that make orphans and make them eat the meat of their parents.
Oh.
Y'all, meat ain't supposed to be gray.
Bah.
To finding these hags and picking them off. Meeting a unicorn. Hey guys, my name's Larry the unicorn. I'm really great. The best NPC. We spent an hour talking to him. He's great.
Fuck yeah.
But we ended up killing this last hag because my character is definitely a murder hobo in that game.
Oh my god. Kolyar.
So, I talked about this a little bit in our wrap up, but Kolyar is an 8-year-old shifter, which means he ages a little bit faster than humans. So he looks 14. And the more I was thinking about his character, I'm like, I remember exactly who I was at age 14.
Oh no.
I was a little shit.
Oh no. Not 14-year-old Connor.
So Kolyar was definitely the only 2 adults that he really knew. Kept him in this one room for all of his life. His 2 halfling dads, who did love him very much and did want the best for him. But yeah, this kid was half lycanthrope and definitely needed to see the world. And he left, and he did see a lot of the world, and it sucked. You got people eating people. We got gray meat. He immediately recognizes the smell of corpses and everything now, so that's great for a developing child.
Yep.
But my character started getting very aggressive because he learned early on that like, oh well, let me try to like swat these little pixies to like get them to stop, and ended up killing them. So it's just like, okay, that was more like me saying, oh well, I guess there's no point in me trying to do non-lethal damage. So I shot this hag, and we ended up killing her. And the star ended up breaking because the essence of this hag went into the star, exploded it, and we sort of all just like, we ended up meeting each other once again, the same way we did at the very beginning of this campaign, where we find this crater in the woods where this star had fallen. But instead of a star, it was a baby.
What?
Well, the star was a crying baby.
What the shit?
And all of us were adults looking at each other. Which is sort of like a metaphor, because like, well, we were kids who had saved the star. Now we're adults finding what it was, this kid. And knowing that we had to raise this kid, we had to sacrifice ourselves, like, put in the work and everything to raise this child. And we had essentially lost our childhood. Like, we're looking back and it's just like, where did the time go?
Damn.
It's very like mindfucky. And oh my gosh, Little Red Dot is amazing for doing that.
That sounds amazing, but also I can't believe that babies come from outer space.
Well, like, they were dropped off earlier in the campaign. They were dropped off by storks. So
Storks come from outer space to deliver babies?
I mean, if Yoshi's Island has taught me anything, that's it.
Wow, American sex education is great.
What sex education?
Can't talk about that.
I will say that as an American who went through public education, I did not have any sex education. So,
do you want to derail for a second?
Sure.
So
Over Connor, mark that on the derail counter. No, we're not doing that again.
So I got the tiniest bit of sex education from in like 7th or 8th grade from my health teacher, who doubled as a coach. So, you know, you guys all know the coaches with teachers are coaches as teachers archetype.
Yep.
But, you know, this coach was like a woman, so it was like a little bit better, I guess. But
I also had a coach, health teacher, that sort of tried to touch on sex education. That was the basis of it. But like, I didn't have a sex education class, so not counting it.
Yeah, this was a part of health, which was focused on all things health, but we had like a day of sex education, which is truly a crime, but you know, whatever, that's besides the point. She referred to sex as vaguely as possible without getting into too many details, and instead of saying penis and vagina like a normal human being, decided to refer to genitals as Pennsylvania and Virginia, and unironically gave us the birds and the bees talking about Pennsylvania and Virginia.
God bless America.
She was also the same teacher who accidentally left a Gatorade in her classroom over a weekend, and it started developing mold. And instead of throwing it out, was like, let's see what happens over the rest of this semester.
What?
So it makes this Gatorade get more and more moldy.
What?
But, you know, that's besides the point. Teach your children about the birds and the bees. Time to re-rail.
Let's start laying out the tracks again. You had a game on Off the Table.
Yeah, so I play in for the Storms and SARS, which is an Alas for the Awful Sea campaign on Off the Table, which is really good because it's full of incredible role players, and we still have not made it off the first island. We were gonna try to, but a big old storm came in. So instead, we had one character, Annabelle, played by Katie Face, who had a lovely time in the bar/flower shop, while the other three characters basically encountered a comedy of errors in which Elizabeth, played by Anarisis, thought she saw a woman walking into the ocean and ran in after her, and then our captain, Harper, played by Where's My Dingus, also ran in after her because there was no woman after all. But Elizabeth kept just trying to go after this woman in the sea. Oh my god, it was awful. It was amazing. And then I rolled high enough on my Beyond check, which is kind of your supernatural sense in a way.
Yeah.
To figure out that something fucky was going on in this general location in the ocean. So I took a little rowboat out there and saw my captain and my ship's doctor fucking drowning. I was just like, oh no. And save them. But it was just so funny, the contrast between pleasant bar conversation and saving people from drowning. But no, it's very interesting because this campaign had a tinge of the supernatural, but it hasn't really come into the forefront. Mm-hmm. The beginning of the campaign started with there have been bodies of women mysteriously turning up at sea, and our boat was pulling them onto the boat. And no one knew what it was about except for our captain, who knew that they were Selkies. But Selkies aren't supposed to drown. So that was a little weird. And then some of our characters, particularly mine and Harper's, kept getting visions of the sea being I guess just awful. Seeing
Alas for the awful sea.
Yeah. God, the sea really is awful.
It really is awful, alas.
But seeing whirlpools and faces and drowning and weird visions. But this was the first time it hit so close to us to where characters who were a little more skeptical about the paranormal, such as Elizabeth, our ship doctor. Oh, lady. She's just pushing on your chest hey.
I am a lady. I need my personal space.
But, yeah, so even characters like her are just okay, what the fuck is this? So Elizabeth is the one who sees this woman walking into the sea and drowning. And then after my character, Dagny, saves the captain and Elizabeth from drowning, we take them to this inn and we see this woman there who is helping us out, and Elizabeth recognizes her as the woman who was drowning in her vision. It was so weird, and that was where the episode ended.
Oh man.
Oh my god. So I have no idea how it's gonna end up. Also, I'm still caught in this juicy fucking love triangle where my character and Anaris' character both like the captain.
Aww.
So that's fun. But, as we said in chat, God gave Dagny 2 hands for a reason. One for Harper and one for Elizabeth. So, we'll see where all this supernatural, all this romance ends up, but I like it. I'm excited.
Whew. And I guess is that it for our stream games? Because no, you've also had a well. Can we talk about your session 0?
We can talk about it after we take a small break.
What we doing? What we doing for break?
I don't know, just maybe like a little magic art. It's kind of like flailing a little bit. It's kind of like splashing.
And I know the perfect song for this. It is a Glitch X City remix of the Magic Art Festival from Pokken Tournament.
Excellent.
It's actually a really good track. You definitely listen to the full thing. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
God, so we're picking this up like right after a stream because that's whenever we record these. And my inbox is like so full of follower notifications. Like I think I got 26 followers today.
Dude, your stream is fucking popping because you got hit with the critter hug of death.
Oh, I sure did. It was such a wholesome, chill stream up until like the last 10 minutes.
Wholesome. Yeah, no, it was great. Like chat was popping the whole time. Danny Carr herself made an appearance.
Yeah, Danny came and said, "Hey," and that was really cool. So we're playing Breath of the Wild right now, and I think like right now, Danny's playing through Breath of the Wild probably for first time.
I think so.
But yeah, she did have to duck out, and right now she's on Twitter saying like, "Oh my gosh, this recap is so long." So I think they're recording that.
Yeah.
So.
And Arsqueef gifted a ton of subs.
Yeah, he gifted enough subs that we get a new emote slot, and because I said so, I will also be adding a camera, so if Lady walks off, she can still like be in the presence of everybody who's viewing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then just, a ton of people subbed and followed, and it was a great turnout.
And a lot of people stayed to the end where we started reading CR.
Where we started reading.
Where I started ASMR reading some CR fanfic, some CR smut.
Provided courtesy of me. So
I wasn't expecting my streams to turn out this way. That's not the lore that I was trying to spread, but
well,
here we are.
We got on the subject of you being like a voice actor for some interesting projects.
That's true. That is how we got there. Yeah.
And then I really don't remember how it developed from there. Like, I think, Arsqueef said something about a fan fiction reading stream, and then I was like, oh, I can pull up some CR smut. And then it quickly escalated into what would be a chair-inducing evening.
So speaking of streams that might escalate into a chair-inducing evening, you're about to start a Monster Hearts game, right?
Yes, I am.
And we haven't started that game yet. Maybe by the time we upload, that would have started, but
I'll tell you when it starts. It's gonna start the 16th of April.
Okay, so maybe like right after this episode airs. So yeah.
Yeah, go check it out on twitch.tv/ProRestarter.
But you did have a session 0 for that, right? How did that go? Which I really want to hear about because I haven't had that much experience with session 0s, but I think, like I said before in the first half of this, they're very important, very good to start off your longer term campaigns with.
Yeah, I am an advocate for session 0s, because to me it's pretty nerve-wracking to kind of like, in this age of where we're no longer playing tabletop games with our very close IRL friends. We have the option to play with people from around the world who we've never met before, play with them for the first time. So that's pretty nerve-wracking. So I think in that sense, if time allows it, it's kind of crucial to have these session zeros to kind of get a sense of who these people are, what are the kind of stories you want to tell together, what's okay, what's not okay, and just making sure that everyone's on the same page so we're all comfortable, we're all having a good time. And for me personally, every session zero that I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of has just quickly descended into a meme fest. But no, I think it's fantastic, and it's really fun when, because I'm thinking of the stream. I've been in one, the one for Alas for the Awful Sea was streamed, but the one I had for Monster Hearts was not streamed. And those were really fun because it was also get to know the players, build the characters and the relationships, and also build the world type session zeros, which are always fun because it's really much more exciting to be a part of something that you had a hand in creating. And it's just really awesome to hear the ideas of others, especially whenever, because it's collaborative in the sense that you guys are also building a world together. But with this character that you've partially built by yourself, if you're having trouble coming up with something, you can also bounce it off all of these creative, talented people and see what they, what suggestions they might have to offer. So not only are you all building a world together, but you're all building your characters together. And no, I think I just think they're fantastic. I think any campaign, streamed or not streamed, that has the time for a session zero should dedicate a time to it so you can either, first set up safety tools if you're a fan of those, figure out what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, figuring out if you're not comfortable with something, how to deal with that. So that's good. Get to know people if you need to get to know people. Kind of get to know some character stuff. World build if you want. And then I had another point. I don't remember.
So one thing that I've definitely, I've only had one session zero, and it was streamed. It was on Sir Lucian's channel for the Sky of Swords one shot. It's weird because for a lot of the longer term stuff that I've never done a session zero for.
Mm-hmm.
But for one shot, actually for the first time that I ever did a stream game, we had a session zero where we were sort of told what the big focus of the thing was, and we got to build our characters from there and hear what everybody else's characters were. So it was really great for coordinating what we were all doing, which was the meme goes, everybody shows up and it's a full party of bards.
A dream party, by the way. I must say.
Get that shit out of here.
No! All bards! Party!
Which, I mean, I guess because I also DM a lot, none of it's really streamed, but I don't know, maybe people will be getting some content out of my games pretty soon, maybe.
Oh, woo.
Maybe. Depends on how burned out I'm going to be. Probably very quickly, probably very immediately.
Oh, woo.
I don't know, sort of the ways that I've been doing it. I just set up a group chat with the players, and then it's just like, hey, this is the game, and then it just becomes an ongoing discussion.
But see, even that I think is okay if you don't have time for like a session 0 to sit down and talk together all at once. As long as you can at least, talk together and somehow like set that up, I think is just a much better experience for people than going in like blind and not really knowing what's going on, what everyone's doing, what they're okay with. I just think that that little bit of like communication and a little bit of transparency. You don't have to like reveal who the big bad evil guy is, but just kind of, hey, this is the world we're playing in. This is the kind of story I want to tell. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? What do you want to add or change? That kind of stuff I think is just really important to like ensuring that everyone's kind of like on the same page and that the game is like the most enjoyable that it can be. Because I think we're moving out of this age of, everything is hidden behind the DM screen and the DM's pulling all the strings, and it's all about the DM trying to fuck with the player characters to this era of this is collaborative, we're all telling stories, and we're all here to have fun. We all have equal share in this, which I think is a nice move, but probably because I'm from the newer generation of players.
Yeah, we're definitely from the PC TTRPG era, which some people might think is a bad thing. I 100% don't, because I mean, we're all here to have fun, but we should be able to do that in a safe way.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about like a big thing that comes up with Session 0 are lines and veils. Which actually I did have a couple of other Session 0s. They were all done by a narcissist.
Yeah.
He was doing his first Fun Shot series.
Yeah, that sounds right up his alley.
Yeah, and these were not streamed, but they were really great for like figuring out like number one how these games worked, because they were all different systems. This is my first time playing Fate. I think Powered by the Apocalypse. I think one of them was. Yeah, Blades in the Dark was. And actually his own game.
Yeah.
But like they were really great for like figuring out like, oh well, these are things that aren't going to be a thing. Yeah, they were really great. And he's actually the one who introduced me to Lines and Veils. And one, it's weird because it's pretty much been a recurring thing in all the TTRPG streams that sexual encounters are hidden behind a veil.
That's good.
Which, as a player, I very much enjoy, because I am very awkward about describing sexual encounters.
Yeah, also
I really don't want to describe sexual encounters.
Describing sex with your friends to your friends.
Like if you do that at home at your own table, and all of your friends are like okay with that, that's like a joke, that's the sort of like humor and things that y'all want to do with each other. Hey, that's cool. You're enjoying the game how you want. For a streamed thing, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Even if like all the players are cool with it, maybe your audience might not be.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of weird.
Because that's the thing. Audiences are also a part of the lines and veils to a degree,
Yeah.
But
so
please give us more Auto Rakshasa content. Remove the lines and veils.
That is not something that I would describe, because well, my player might not want that described.
No.
I tend to leave stuff like that completely in control of my players.
That's fair.
Okay.
We leave that up to Ginger Benji to write fan fiction for.
That I will ASMR narrate.
please.
In discussions with my character Arjan that I've been having with Indoor Adventurer, I've added another NPC to his backstory. Actually, not his backstory. Kind of. I've added a trans man to his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that I've thought about it, I've realized that there's one thing that I definitely probably want to include behind lines in all my games going forward, and that's purposeful misgendering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like I know people like do not want that being done in games, but like I don't know, maybe like some people will start thinking like, oh well, for this villain, he's a horrible, horrible person. Like to showcase that he's a horrible person, I'm gonna make him racist or like drop this slur or purposely misgender somebody.
Yeah.
Which are all really, really horrible things that probably only a villain should be doing. But like there's much better ways to probably make a villain more villainous than like doing that sort of thing. And just because like you think that, hey, this is gonna make your players really hate that bad guy, it's still coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's still
not a thing that your players might be okay with you doing, even if it's in the persona of this other character.
And it's still at the expense of someone's preferences. You know, it's kind of almost with the whole. I know we always kind of somehow bring things back to Critical Role, but Critical Role had something recently where there was a term introduced in the second campaign.
Yeah.
That was a slur.
Yep.
And it was like meant to be used as a slur. It was like introduced, and maybe the characters didn't know at first was a slur, but then after it was revealed it was a slur, it was interesting because some characters kept using it, and one character was advocating, hey, we shouldn't say this, and then some people in the outside community were like, you know, maybe we shouldn't say this, and others were like, it's not that big a deal. So, you know, just one of those like things, like what's everyone cool with, you know? Not just like players, but maybe also like what the audience is cool with, and you know, making sure that people are comfortable, because you know, sometimes stories are about broaching uncomfortable subjects, but it's weird whenever it's a game where you're playing with your friends and you're all talking to each other, and like you said, the words are coming out of your mouth. It gets a little dicier than if you're like reading it in a book or seeing it in a movie, you know?
No pun intended with the dicey.
Right? Oh God, I'm so good. I'm good at puns.
Yeah, I won't touch too deeply into that sort of discourse. It was very interesting to see like all this constructed slur. So many people like advocate like, hey, even in this world, like people don't like using this. Let's not use it to describe them, even in chat. Like, it was interesting to see that, and I don't know, it sort of felt good.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, if people don't like being called that, let's respect that.
Yeah.
Respect each other.
Also, considering that they're probably not the bad guys.
They ain't anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, that was real interesting. We got a lot of juicy lore out of the last episode that I'm really happy about, and I'm really happy to hear Danny Card's very long recap of it.
Oh, you know, she's excited.
Oh, you know, that corkboard's getting all more filled in.
It's getting less and less corky.
More and more red yarn. So yeah, whenever we were talking about this, about what we were talking about today, we started talking about narrative pacing with the shorter campaigns and shorter seasons of RPG content, because you and I have been doing a lot of like 10 episode RPG seasons or like 6 episode RPG seasons as we get our fingers firmly in the RPG community, getting our toes wet,
going around touching everyone with our fingers
consensually.
Yes, consensually.
Which I'm really glad that we were talking about the Session Zero, because those are in any streamed campaign of any length. That might be a good idea. And like I've actually heard people talking like for longer campaigns, like non-streamed, like maybe doing that, like doing a re-Session Zero, just like get on the same page for like a new narrative arc or something like that. Just touch base with players and everything.
Yeah.
But like these shorter term campaigns, these shorter term seasons of role playing stuff, you and I are characters. You and I are players who let me say you specifically.
Oh boy.
Are a person who thinks a lot about your character's backstory and their place in the world.
Oh, okay.
Try to leave a lot of threads for DMs to pull on.
Oh yeah, I am very guilty of giving my DMs knives and saying, please stab me.
And I also try to be that way. Although I do tend to lean more on the casual, drop me in a game and I'll play along and hunt things and try to interact with the world. But don't typically delve like too deep in my backstory, but as things progress, try to like fill in more stuff. How do you feel the shorter term campaigns? How do you feel like the narrative and everything tend to influence your character, or vice versa?
You know, with those shorter campaigns, if you're not planning to do anything more with them, it feels like all sort of character growth and relationships and development is like accelerated. Like you're in the hyperbolic time chamber of character development, you know? And that's fun. But sometimes if you're not doing that, because I think our like for example, our Last for the Apple Sea is kind of like a slow burn character development thing going on right now. And we have like 2 episodes left, not touched into anyone's backstories really. It's almost like, God damn, I want some more, you know? Like, fuck, you know, it sucks sometimes that it's like these campaigns are like shorter and you may get through a story arc, but you may not get through character arcs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, I really wish there could be more. Like, for example, the finale from Monster of the Week is coming up soon, and Lemmy just got over like is about to conclude not only a story arc but a character arc with the whole aliens thing. And like, should the campaign continue on further, I would take an advancement to change his playbook from like the Flake, the crazy conspiracy theorist, to something else, because he's kind of gone past that chapter in his life. And I would love to see that, and I would love to play it out, but due to time and scheduling and commitments and everything, that's not possible. But me as the player who has enjoyed building these relationships and playing in this world and playing as this character, I'm just like, man, you know, wish we had more time. This sucks. So that's kind of the downside of playing in these stream campaigns, is you play with such amazing people who are so good at making characters and DMs who are so good at making worlds that you just are left wanting more. I don't know if the experience is the same for you, but that's what I've encountered.
I'll say yes. Yes, for one of those games, for one of the games that I played very recently, the Little Things, I was definitely left like wanting more. Like we spent this time like trekking through this forest and like fighting all the creatures of a fairy tale, and trying to like bring balance back to the forest after we screwed it up. But everybody had like so many like threads in their backstory that I just felt like, oh my gosh, I just want to go over there and just like pull it until all the threads come loose.
Yes.
Prairie Starter definitely was playing a very Mimi character because he was a tabaxi whose backstory was literally the Lion King.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, did I want to kill Scar? I wanted to go over to his tribe. I wanted us to like go and like save him. Just like no, it kept coming up like no, you didn't kill your father. It wasn't your fault. And like the ghost of his still alive mom was like showing up and just being like, no, you didn't kill your father. Like you need to let this go.
Hang on, Connor kills Scar? What?
Listen, I am playing a character. My character wants to kill Scar.
Connor?
Connor still loves the Mufasa death scene because Connor thinks Mufasa is way too good of a character and Scar is way too good of a villain.
Connor, the #1 Scar stan in my life.
But yeah, I was just like, yeah, I want to go help this person like get through his trauma and everything, and like help him like get back reunited with his pride and everything. And it was just weird like not being able to do that. PB's ASMR, like I didn't figure out anything about her backstory and everything. She figured out that she could do light and stuff. She got her divine soul sorcery, but I don't know. I just like didn't really learn anything about that. Like she really wanted to be a hero, but she was like an orphan. Her mom died, and like her tribe was like moving around and everything. And then like for me, my whole thing was like the discovery that like my parents were werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was definitely getting back on my bullshit with this character.
Ew, I woos.
But like that pretty much all came up in this moment where a manifestation of the ghost of my mom just like talked to me. But it was literally during the second to last episode, and I sort of wasn't expecting it all to come to a head, so it like sort of took me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like sort of weird because like I'm just here like stunned, taken aback, like oh my god, this is my moment to like air out all this stuff and develop my character to a point where I feel his arc is complete, because I knew that like the next episode was going to be the end of it. So I'm trying to figure all this stuff out, and then a little Zoom chat thing pops up, and it's just like, if there's anything that you want, this is the time. I'm just like, so much pressure.
Oh no.
And so I just ended up like wishing that like we had more time to go through all of this. There's the flip side of that, which sort of came up in our Dragon Knights game that we also did on ProStar's channel.
Yeah.
My character Isabel did not have a good time during that campaign. And there was a point where I did not know if I could continue playing the character and still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt that the things that were happening to her were affecting me in the real world.
Yeah.
I sort of like had to figure out a way where I was still okay with playing the character. Find something that I could be excited about that was coming out of her trauma.
Mm-hmm.
If there were more than like 3 episodes and one of our players like didn't have backstory that needed to be explored, I would have swapped character.
Yeah.
I would have really relished that opportunity, because
Mm-hmm.
Isabel's story I don't think ended that great.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel's story didn't really end. Having more time definitely would have helped that. So like the pressure of like, oh well, this is ending. I need to have this like completed. I need to have this like arc completed. And it sort of put pressure on me, I guess. That
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel would have happened in a non-streamed or non-time boxed game.
See, that's what I think is the difference between streamed games and non-streamed games. Because with non-streamed games, it's like this game is for our enjoyment, and we can see this through as long as we need to, and this is all about us and creating the story together. Where with stream games, you get some of that to a certain extent, but really driving force is this, is the audience, is this entertaining for the audience, are they enjoying this, and it's almost more like showing out in a sense. And it's more like a show than it is with like a home game. So it's in this constrained box, you know. So the environment is very different,
Yeah.
So it's like you don't always get the total backstory fulfillment that you would get in like a home game. Which, isn't to like bash stream games, because they're a lot of fun. I enjoyed a lot because, just the element of playing with different people and having the element of like this live chat going on, sharing this experience with you, enjoying it, memeing on you is fantastic. But it's an entirely different experience than the genuine enjoyment that you get out of a home game. Like the experience I got from, say, Dragon Heist and the experience I got from Amon Dragon Heist are
Which
totally
we totally not mix those games up ever.
totally different experiences, but very enjoyable, but for totally different reasons, So it's like, it's almost like you can't even compare a stream game versus a home game.
I would counter that.
Oh, please, let's talk about it.
Well, let's talk about it, because the counterpoint to both of those is that I am playing in one stream game that is not time boxed.
Oh, that's true.
My game on
Like in a
Indoor,
Critical Role style game.
I am playing a sort of critical role style.
Yeah.
It's more like I can definitely tell that he's getting more inspiration from like Acquisitions Incorporated,
Yeah.
the C team. But yeah, I've been playing in Indoor Adventures for like 7 months.
Yeah. Ooh, baby.
And we're just hitting level 6. We'll be leveling up to level 6 tomorrow. And honestly, it feels like a home game.
Yeah.
That there's like pressure to like come up with like funny quips or like ways to entertain the audience. But I don't feel pressure to like explore anything quicker than what seems natural.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely, maybe that's coming up because like the past couple of episodes have been very centric to my character.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'll feel differently whenever the spotlight will start shining on the other characters as we get into more of their backstory, because like their stuff is definitely more like world defining calamities, whereas mine is just like a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
But it's been very enjoyable for me to just explore this character at my own pace.
Right.
And keep conspiring with the DM, knowing that I quite possibly have another year, maybe.
Yeah.
Year and a half, maybe 2 years to keep exploring this character. in a way that other people can follow on his journey with me. It's just been really great and really fulfilling. Once again, in the same way that our Dragon Heist game was going. That one was very differently fulfilling to me, just because like it was definitely a way for me to flex as a DM.
You mind if I flex?
Flex as in just like work that muscle.
Yeah.
Even though this is a streamed game, I don't feel like the same restrictions or pressures that I have in many other stream games. And it's definitely because we went into this knowing that like this is going to go on for a while. And we can explore whatever we need to.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with it, but I want to counter your counter. And just by saying that your experience is fairly rare, I believe, in like the streamed TTRPG community, just because most people do not set up long form campaigns. Like that is reserved to like people with the big shows, or people who are, I don't want to say crazy enough to commit that much time, but for lack of a better word,
100% they're crazy enough to commit that time.
Crazy enough to commit that much time. Most people are like, okay, I have enough for 6 to 10 episodes of this one show with these random people that I don't know.
Literally, I'm having difficulty. I'm having so much difficulty that you know about, but our talkers probably don't know about. Trying to come up with details about our next home game, which is not streamed. It is not for anybody but y'all. But like,
sorry, by the way, because of the requests we've gotten to stream stuff. Sorry.
Maybe for partner.
Maybe for partners. Sub to Cybrwulf1201 if you want some streamed TTRPG goodness.
No, definitely not when work is getting where it's going. Yeah.
Oof.
I don't even have time to commit to like more than one stream on my channel per week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely hard, and like you might know this, but like I was approached to like run or be a DM for a channel for one season, just to like run a couple of episodes, but I had to decline because like I was not ready to even run that much. And as I start like working my like homebrew game muscle, which is a lot different from my module muscles. So many muscles in your brain, you know. So many muscles in your DM brain. You gotta get those DM gains.
Big beefy brain.
As I try to work those muscles, I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to do something like that in the future. But like, I'm not crazy enough to commit to that right now.
Oh my god, same.
Yeah, the experience that I'm having on Indoor's channel right now is definitely not. It's definitely not typical for a stream campaign, because you don't commit to like doing something for 2 to 3 years. That's crazy.
But it's working. So.
But yeah, it's working, and I'm having an amazing time doing that. It's so much work on both the DM's behalf and like us to like keep coming up with stuff and keep like committing to this week to week thing. But
and y'all are very good about it. Like hardly anyone ever misses a stream, you know, which is crazy for a commitment that long, I think.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of prioritization, which is like a lot to ask of anybody.
Yeah. Oh my
is that the episode?
No, you know what we forgot to talk about? Not to make the
we
episode.
Forgot to talk about Constant's game.
We did forget not to make the episode out of order, but I know you really wanted to air out some feelings from that game. So, how do we want to talk about that?
So we've been in a home game for a little bit by friend of the channel, Conster20, who we've like literally in our very first episode of Let's Talk About It, we've mentioned how like he's such a creative individual who comes up with these like really complex worlds and twist 5th edition to do so many different things. That's really awesome. And we've had our first game in there for a while because he is a very busy grad student.
Oof, mood.
And a lot of us are very busy individuals, but specifically him, he's got a lot of tests going on that he always has to study for. So it's as it is hard to commit to making stuff for a indefinite stream game or just 10 episode stream game. It's very hard to keep making stuff for just like a home game. But we played our first episode from there for a while.
Yeah.
And our last episode involved a few of us getting trapped in this painting that sort of like teleported us to another world. Well, your character, the only person with access to magical attacks that were required to defeat this trap, was off looting something else in a different part of this mansion.
Yeah, my character. The neutral evil bar. Yeah, they're off doing things that will be revealed once you get out of the painting. But to be fair,
you showed up this game.
To be fair, we didn't know that that's how you were supposed to beat the painting.
We didn't. We were stuck in this trap for a while. Sort of just like we really don't know what to do. My character literally couldn't do anything because his hands were on this painting that sort of was like latex sucking him into the painting. It was a whole thing. It was gross.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Ooh, reverse clap.
We get teleported into this new area, which fits my aesthetic, which is this frozen island with like blue crystals everywhere. It's like really pretty, really on the cool side of the color spectrum.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to a couple of new characters, one of which was a new player, TSV, and my fraternity brother, who I don't think has a handle, but he shows up with this Kitsune character, and the Kitsune is a race that I was sort of working on converting from Pathfinder. So it was really cool to see a player just like randomly show up with a race that I had a hand in bringing.
And he did such a good job.
And he did such a good job. I love his character
so much.
And my character is a Lupin, which is Awoo's in the chat, Awoo's in the comment section, Awoo's in the reviews. He's
like Awoo and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. He's a bipedal wolf. It's a race that I sort of like converted over from 3rd edition. I think it originally appeared in 2nd edition, but he was just like, oh my gosh, I need to protect this pup.
Oh.
Which like he never revealed his fox form, but
yeah,
only
a couple of characters found out.
But oh my god, I definitely want to protect this babu. And then your character shows up.
My character shows up. Yeah. So, I originally at the end of our last episode was like, would my character jump into this painting? And then I decided, no, they're way smarter than that. They would go do other things to try and work around this. So in the meantime, how can I keep playing along? And so I worked with Conster to come up with a character concept. So I decided to play Miss Edith Whitcomb, who is a school of enchantment wizard, which I'm sure you picked up on after a certain point. Who was very cryptic at first and not entirely forthcoming, but I got to do some fun stuff, like use my instinctive charm to redirect an attack off myself onto another party member.
I'm just shaking my head.
Everyone was suspicious of me the entire time because everyone was suspicious of my first character, who was also not very forthcoming, but mostly because they're a changeling.
You just like playing shifty characters with ulterior motives.
I mean, for that campaign, I guess, which doesn't entirely fit because everyone else is playing straightforward characters, but, you know, fuck it, I guess.
Well, I mean, in the very first episode, we had a character. we had a certain character who derailed the entire session.
Yeah, but ever since then, everyone else has been straightforward, and I have been the one who's just been really shifty, which, you know, was fun, but then all of the meta judgment is placed on me. So the moment my character showed up, it was like, oh god, okay, who is this villain? But yeah, no, my it turns out that my character was working for the bad guy that you guys had been sent to. Well, you were sent to like go through his mansion and get his belongings, but now you found out he's here in this island in this painting.
Did we? Because we never insight checked you. And that was stupid of us.
Well, you insight checked me in the beginning and found out that I wasn't being entirely forthcoming about being a helpless damsel in distress.
Oh, I do declare all this stuff is so much for little old me.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, please help me. And then I like blew up some wolf's brain in front of you. Yeah, no, that character's fun because not only do I have high intelligence, but I have high charisma as well.
I really like the voice that you keep doing for the character too. It's really nice to see you branching out into accents for your character.
Yeah, usually I do my own voice or posh British, but instead I decided to go with Southern Belle, and I was like, well, let's commit to this. So that's fun, but it's fine because I can do Southern Belle. It's not like Arsqueef's accent that I can't do. But yeah, so we found out that my character used to work for the bad guy of this island, and she wants to extract revenge on him, and you know, is requesting the aid of the party members because he is their ticket to get off this island. And yeah, so hopefully they'll trust her a little more now that she's revealed everything.
The only reason I'm going is because the Kitsune is going. And I don't want him to die.
What if his character turns out to be the evil one?
Then I'm gonna put him down. Like, I feel like I'm the one who needs to put him down if he turns evil.
Yeah. Connor, do you want to air out your feelings about my character real quick? Because I felt so much of that session, that silent judgment upon me, but I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm sorry, my laptop just went in for me, had a low battery. But please, tell me your thoughts about my character.
Is this your first time playing a wizard?
I played a wizard in a one-shot.
Okay. Kylen likes playing shifty characters with ulterior motives, trying to pull that negative sigma on us. Negative Sigma from our Dragon Heist game, or Tyranny of Dragons game, where he is definitely the worst evil.
Who is?
Negative Sigma.
Oh, yeah.
Just making thralls of Haster while we're trying to fight Tiamat.
Yep.
Dragon
Totally cool and normal.
Totally cool and normal. I don't trust your character. I don't trust your character at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're hiding way too much. I think your character does not care about us.
Mm-hmm.
And hardly cares about any of our survival.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Garu would be a little bit better off if like you were honest about your selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you're just like, oh well, if you really want your way off the island, well, you're gonna have to help me. You gotta help me to help yourselves. Like I want to take you to him so that y'all can get off the island. Because that's your best course of action. If you were like that from the very beginning, I would have a lot better taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I would have liked the smell of you a lot better.
Yeah, that whole session was kind of like evaluation on her part. It was like, are you strong enough to help her with this? And once she found that Igor was like, okay, now I can come clean. Now that I know that, one, you're not associated with this guy, and two, that you can hold your own, now I can ask you for help.
Do you know if we can hold our own?
She did okay against the giant. You're much better than she is as a wizard with 32 hit points.
I think my character only has like 36 hit points, so.
Oh, well. We'll have an AC of 11.
Yeah, I just.
Connor, you can trust me. I'm a good person.
I trust you. I trust you out of the game, and I trust that you are not going to derail the game, and that you and Conster are working in a way that's going to get us to a place where get us to a good place.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take us down that narrative road. Garu fucking hates your guts. He doesn't. He's not gonna lose his suspicion of you.
Yeah, and I'm sure he enjoyed being around Valeris as well. So that's just my MO for this game, I guess, creating characters that everyone hates.
But like Garu's been through a lot. It hasn't come up because I haven't really leaned too heavily in its backstory, just because like even without us having a session 0, like this is definitely more of a casual game where I wasn't super like expecting things from his backstory to like come up. Gary's lost most of his tribe from people who thought they were werewolves.
Yeah. Damn.
And so Gary is sort of like the de facto elder because he's one of the few adults who survived.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already like very suspicious of people. You're not going to win him over.
We'll see, I guess, in 2 years when we can play another session.
2 years later. So yeah, we will see the adventures of Edith and Louis Garu in about 2 years whenever we play again.
All right. I think that's about it for this episode, unless you can think of anything.
Yeah, we talked about our games. We talked about the importance of Session 0 and safety tools, and the narrative pacing of stream games versus how home games typically go. So that's enough to come up with a complicated title.
Yeah, as always, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Anchor and all of our new streaming sites, and you can find what we do in the doobly-doo.
Yeah, go click on links in the doobly-doo. and click other buttons there because they'll probably help us out.
Yeah.
Don't click the ones that say block or report us.
Please no. We didn't read smut on stream.
You didn't. Anyway, guys, we will talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Teach your kids about the cloaca and the banus.
The brain.